So, Sanjay ji, we're supposed to be demoing Oppo or Lauki or Dudhi, are its three names, but this looks different than what I've seen, and I don't think this is actually Oppo.
This looks more like sponge powder today.
Yeah, so we are going to be sometimes you can't find Oppo, and then in that case you grab any squash you can and make this recipe. All right. So we work with what we've got. Squash in the summer is fantastic. I'm doing the wrong thing. We are only making half. I'll eat that one later. First, what you want to do is wash your squash, of course, and then peel it. This is a very soft squash. It's light, it's crisp if you don't cook it. You can have it even as a little bit of a juice, like if you grate it or grind it up, you can add some sugar and a little bit of cardamom. It's so cooling and balancing for the summer. But what is also really special about this squash, Oppo, which is not what we're using, is that you can have it at any time, in any season. Even if you are sick, you can make yourself a soup out of it, and it is still very balancing. Healing squash. Then you can cut it in half. Some nice little seeds in there will add some texture. And then you can cut it however you like. We're cutting it into about 1/4 of an inch pieces today. This is also an aphrodisiac, and when we say aphrodisiac, it doesn't mean it's just going to turn you on. What it means is that it's going to nourish your shupradhatu, your reproductive tissue, and that doesn't mean just your reproductive tissues here in your pelvic area. It means also your reproductive micro digestion. So if you get a cut or something, that also involves your reproductive tissues to heal yourself. That's what we mean when we say reproductive tissues around here. Everything. Okay, and then you use 1 medium onion. We're using 1/4 of an onion for this small recipe. Don't get confused. And you can chop it. We're not putting garlic in this recipe. This is a cumin recipe. Hold on, I need to stir this one over here. So eating warm foods with cooling qualities is very helpful to the digestion. You don't want to eat it hot and steaming, but warm. That will support you. And then having this cooling squash is really good for summer. I've cut all my ingredients. I'm actually using our summer formulation, which has coriander, turmeric, amchur, which is a green mango powder, cumin, fennel, green cardamom. You can also, if you don't want to purchase that, you can use a 1/4 of a teaspoon fennel and a 1/4 of a teaspoon cumin and a 1/4 of a teaspoon turmeric. And you can start with a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt and add it to taste later on. And that would be your spice mix. Heat your pan. Put in your ghee. Use 2 2 tablespoons of ghee. That goes in first. I like to get all the ghee off the spoon, so I always melt it down. This is the other precious medicine. Everything in your life can just all be about medicine. And then Dharma is creating that medicine within our community. So we're talking about how the bees are creating this medicine at the very end of this huge process. And shouldn't our lives be like that? We can also create this like essence of medicine at the end of our life, what we've created as a community. And to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what that looks like. How do we co-create that? That is my big question these days. But I guess I'm in a good place to learn how to start that. All right, then, all right, if you were using the whole spices by itself, you would first put in the cumin and the fennel, because those are whole spices. And you want to make sure that you don't burn them, because this is a powder mixed with whole spices. I am first going to put in my onion, and this prevents the burning of the powdered spices, because those are a little more sensitive, and I don't want to burn our spices. So you coat your onion in oil. The spice box. And then, so 1/4 and 1/4 makes a half. And then another way, if you don't like measuring, you can just sprinkle over the top of your food the entire circumference of your pan. And that's usually a good form of measurement if you're not baking desserts. I mix that around. And then, the top on, this is going to take some time. I'm going to do it on a medium-low because there's really not that much in there, for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then this one is really hot and ready for you to taste. You probably have to wait actually a little bit because now it's too hot. Good. Where are my... Yes. Yes. Thank you. Oh, and I forgot about the coriander. All right, while we're waiting for this to cool, you have 2 options. You can be like Martha Stewart and my mother, or if you're really hungry, you can be like me. Martha Stewart and my mother like to. And this is a very nice way to do this if you have the time. Take off every leaf carefully. Nice if you were having a dinner party, right? And then if you're a mom, you have 2 kids, and you don't mind having stems in your food, which I don't. I'll eat just about anything. And today that's what you're being served. Just about anything. It's still so tasty, and this way you don't waste any of the food. Now that we aren't farmers anymore, forget about the process that goes into this food to our plates. I'm going to put some more in there.
Sure.
You can really eat a lot of cilantro, okay? Don't be shy. Cilantro is also cooling and digestive. Don't do too much. Oh. Well, I have the head chef over there watching me, so I had to... I'll just do half and I'll eat the rest later, okay?
Save it.
Yeah, because you still want to taste this squash that isn't opal.
We may have discovered something really good.
I don't know.
It's called, in the Chinese market, it's called mugua.
Sinqua.
Sinqua.
They call it mugua.
I wasn't there. I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right, so we're done?
We're just waiting on this guy that I'm actually burning because there's not enough anything in here. So you have to forgive to me. Normally that would be 10 to 12 minutes, but since the portion is much smaller, we won't wait that long. And you put in your squash, and I forgot the salt.
Oh, that's so.
You can get one of these nifty little spice containers. All of your spices are ready for any time. And then if you have indigestion, you can take a little bit of this fennel and have it. That will help. Anyway, a fourth of a teaspoon will probably be plenty of salt for a small amount. And then want to coat your squash in oil and spices, and you don't have to worry about adding water because this squash is already very watery and will release its own water. And this is for about 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. Any questions? No? Oh, yes.
Did you put the cilantro in at the end after the all was cooked?
Yes. Put it on at the very end, and then you can either leave it on the top or just toss it in gently. Okay. Yes.
Has anybody tried to grow opa squash in this area? Like at their home garden?
I'm trying to.
I have.
You have?
I've grown up with it grows.
It grows?
Out in Walnut Creek where it's hot.
It needs to be hotter
It
than
needs
open.
to be hot.
Or
Yeah,
Riverville.
probably needs a little more heat than open.
Okay.
It's not working in Sebastopol. Not
Oh,
yet.
'cause yeah.
Yeah. I'm still trying.
Yeah. 'Cause some squashes grow in open, some
Yeah.
don't, for sure.
Try. See what happens. It looks a lot like this, except you'll find that maybe it'll be a little more oblong at the bottom, and it will be a lighter green, and it's a uniform green. And you know, they're very close. And you can find it at the Indian market. Sometimes you can find it at the farmer's market.
Very white.
And Berkeley Bull, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting that all these wonderful places exist. Berkeley Bull has opo.
It's lighter. The color is lighter.
They have it at the Chinese stores as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the grocery stores, like where they all sell like the, and it's like inside it's like spongy and it's like very white.
Yeah, I guess I ought to taste it and see what happened in there.
Yeah. See what you created.
This was very good, Chef.
Thank you. Thank you. So how about the face mask? Would you like to share your experience?
That's nice. I mean, it felt really cooling when it was on, and then it felt really moisture, like unctuous. It had that unctuous feeling. Actually, for me, like, because of I think the cream was what stayed. So I had to kind of, for me, I had to kind of wipe that down.
Yeah.
But it's not as good. Yeah, it feels really clean.
Good. Great.
This gentleman had
Yes.
the kind of.
Yes. Please share your face mask.
It's still cooling.
It's still
I'm
cooling.
taking it off. Yeah. That feels nice. And my beard is super soft and, and awesome from the avocado right now.
That's great.
So, but yeah, no, I still feel a lot more cool on my face. It was very warm when we came in, and I feel much cooler now. So.
And how was the scent? Did you notice anything?
I guess I notice a scent.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's making me feel, or that's not as cooling to me.
Okay.
So, but I still feel it. Like it still feels different, a different quality in my face. So.
How about you?
I noticed while it was on, it didn't crack. I could still move my face easily, unlike some masks I've done. And then now, without any lotion on afterwards, my face feels really soft still.
Great.
Whereas usually it would start to feel like I needed to put some moisture on it.
Do you think you'll use it again this summer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Anyone else have any questions?
How about some other suggestions?
What other suggestions?
With the avocado, if you don't want to waste the meat for your mask, my grandma used to use the meat for food and then turn it inside out, whatever is left on the skin, and just rub it her face with it.
That's nice.
And she had the most beautiful skin. And for the oily skin, I had acne when I was little. She would just squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on that and then rub myself with it. So, I can think about it if you don't want to be wasteful.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Are there other summer squashes that are better than others, or all summer squashes seem to be the same?
Opal is one of the kings of the squash. There's also another called Kushmanda, which is very balancing. I think that's for another class. All of the squash, you know, the winter squash is a little heavier, it's more meaty, and the summer squash is lighter. It doesn't mean you can't have the winter squash in the summer, but there's a reason why things are growing at the time that they do. So you can use zucchini, you can use this little bottleneck squash, whatever squash you want to eat, but the opal is something that is special amongst squash.
What about the butternut?
Yeah.
That's okay. And then kabocha is kind of heavy, right?
Kabocha is kind of heavy and it's also a little bit dry. That's one squash that it has some different qualities than perhaps the other squash have.
And spaghetti squash has a lot of moisture.
Yeah, I think it's just dependent on the flavors you like, and if the squash feels a little like I think of butternut as having more of a snifta, oily quality than a spaghetti squash. Even though there's a lot of water in the spaghetti squash, it doesn't seem quite as sticky as maybe the butternut squash would be. And so I would just eat a lot of ghee with it if that's what I wanted to eat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?